These card readings are for your entertainment and are laced with my personal opinions and perspectives. I'm not qualified to offer medical or legal advice. Seek professionals for legal, mental, or physical health needs, and know that while cards can give you major insights, ultimately, your moves are yours to make. Hello, and welcome to the Get Read podcast, the show where you ask a question of the cards and you get read. I'm your reader. I'm Amanda, although I've been going by Andy lately and I'm loving it. So if you want to call me that, you can. We are at the Sagittarius New Moon, and y'all, I'm ready. Okay, this Scorpio season, all of the personal planets moving through Scorpio, and the Scorpio Taurus eclipse season that we just passed out of, it's been intense. I mean, Scorpio is a sign that asks you to steep in the things that need to be uncovered. It is intense. It can be heavy. It can be incredibly deep and emotional and transformative. And the Sagittarian energy is a pretty stark shift. It's inviting us into something a little lighter, something that's seeking some fun and adventure and a philosophy of lightness, joy even. So especially with this new moon and Jupiter going direct right after, it really feels like this is a time for wishing. Feels really good to say that after such a slog, honestly. An important slog, you know, because Scorpio asks us to get to the depths of what it is we really want and the things that we are actually going through and confront those things so that in Sag we can pursue them with clarity and lightness and direction and a little bit of hope. So, I don't know, gird your dreams, baby. Like, gather them all together and send them up with this new moon, and let's see what happens. Let's talk about the Sagittarius shift reading for fall really quick. Those of you who follow my work, you know that I create these zodiac readings for each sign every season, and the Sag reading for the fall season is called Velcro. It's a really cool reading. It essentially asks you about your desire. Like, what is it that you actually want? And asks us to look at the ways that we cling to things that we actually don't want. You know, we like Velcro ourselves to them, like stick ourselves to the things that we don't want, but they are in some way familiar to us, or we think we should want them. And the ways that that really keeps us separated from our true desires, or the things that our hearts are really craving or longing for. So maybe that's something that we're going to be looking at here as we transition from Scorpio into Sag season. Really, that Scorpio season bringing up our deepest desires and what it is that we really, really want, and also bringing up the things that we really, really don't want that are somehow stuck in our experience. Maybe this Sagittarius season will give us the opportunity to detach from those things in pursuit, running towards our joy. Let's just listen to a little clip of that Sag reading for fall called Velcro. Sag. The aloe prevents the unfortunate damage done when you attempt to hug someone that isn't kin. When you attempt to attach yourself to people, situations, environments that just aren't right for you, you will incur damage. It will be painful. 5 of Swords, 10 of Swords. Thank God you've got aloe, you know, like thank God there is something soothing here to help you heal from doing this. What looks like over and over and over again as you begin to unlearn that tendency. And it feels, Sagittarius, like a tendency to absolutely Velcro, attach yourself to the very thing that just like is not what you actually want. Like, why do you do that? You know, like, why do you do that? I know, because it's unconscious for you. It's not conscious. You're not doing it on purpose. But like, whew, hop the fence, leave the desert and get cool off in the pool, you know? You can watch the first 15 minutes or so of that reading for free on YouTube at the Unseen Hands Tarot YouTube channel. Head on over there, subscribe, watch that reading. Of course, if you want to watch the full thing, that is available to members of the Shifting Space. The link is in the description of the video cast and the podcast to access all of those things and start your investigation into what Sagittarius season has for you. Okay, we've got some questions for the cards today. I'm so thrilled to introduce to you Yes, the Oracle by Preneta. This is a brand new Oracle deck. It's completely collage, intuitively created. Kira's such an artist. I'm so excited to start experimenting with this deck and introduce it to you here on the podcast. So let's use Yes, the Oracle to answer your questions. First question.
Hey Amanda, I am really curious to see what the cards have to say about timing for asking for a monetary raise. I'm a consultant, and so I'm not an employee of the organization, but I do think having a few extra dollars would be really, really helpful coming my way. I'm just not sure about the timing. So I know that we are having a new moon in Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is in my 6th house, which I think astrologically seems like a really good time to ask. However, I don't know. Just not sure if the timing's right. I have a very loving and also really complex relationship with the person that I would be asking. And I don't know, I'm just really curious to see what the cards have to say around timing, any complexities that might come up in the ask or in this arena in general. I know that's really non-specific, but I'm really open. And yeah, anything that could be helpful. So yeah, my sun is Gemini, rising is Cancer, and moon is Scorpio. All right, thank you.
Okay, cool. We got 6th house Sag in the house. Thanks for calling in. All right, we're asking about timing of asking for a raise for our caller here. Is this the right time? Should they go for it? Kind of flipped. Yeah, okay. I saw this in the pre-shuffle too and just took note. Interesting. So we've got this honeycomb in the background, that hive. That seems to be what I'm most drawn to in this card, even though in the foreground we've got looks like a young girl like hugging a horse that is bridled. Okay, we're getting it because we've got the horse, we've got that's a very Sagittarian animal to me, because Sag is represented by the centaur and tends to be an energy of motion. And I would say the horse is definitely a symbol of like riding towards a specific direction in like a swift, free form sort of way. And then we've got this like honeycomb hive energy in the background, which actually does speak to me of the sixth house. Like the sixth house, if that is a place in the zodiac that symbolizes labor and everyday tasks and the work that we do to reach higher goals, we're getting some sixth house Sagittarius vibes in this card. So already there's a little ping that seems to be validating what you are asking, emphasizing your sixth house at this time with all of these planets, Venus, Mercury, the sun, and soon the moon at this new moon moving into that part of your chart. It does stick out to me that Gemini is your 12th house if we're using whole sign houses, and Mars is retrograde in that 12th house space. So there's something going on underlying here that may take its time, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't ask now, you know? Strike while the Sag is hot. Okay, let's see if we can get another card. That was gross. Let's see if we can get another card. Oh, wow. Yeah, hot. Okay, we have this card here. You know, this is a collage deck, so it'll be difficult to describe if you're not watching the video cast. But there's a little phrase on here. I don't know if you can see that. It says, where is it? There it is. It says magic supported skill. So there seems to be some magical support for the skill you are presenting, or the skills that you have. I would say sixth house is also totally a house of skill set, because again, it's the work that you do, the skills, the way that you apply your skills towards your larger goals or larger dreams. And we've got this cutout of a hand here, and inside that cutout is a naked woman and a person, and this person seems to be like holding on to something. Maybe it's even like the reins, or it could be interpreted in the context of this reading as like a bridle or like a switch or something like that. Magic supported skill. This just seems to be really supportive, honestly, of you asking for what you need, and of you getting on the horse and like taking the reins and taking action towards this. Let's just see if we can get one more card from, yes, the Oracle. Okay. In this card, we've got a door, a screen door off of its hinges, and where it was, there's this like opening out into the sky. There's also a big eyeball at the top of the card with what looks like a butterfly or a moth wing. It feels like you asking for what you need in terms of your work could potentially like blow the screen door off this thing and open something up in a really big way and create almost this like doorway, this passage. The butterfly wing feels to me like it's about to fly. And especially with the door freshly blown off and this opening out into the air in the outline of a human, it's almost like the butterfly now has the opening it needs to fly through. So like, are the cards saying ask for a raise? Well, I don't know. They're certainly quite supportive of that. there doesn't seem to be anything in these cards that's saying no. Let's put it like that. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. If you have a skill that is valuable, it's worth supporting. Whether your boss or whoever you're asking for a raise actually ends up doing that and supporting that has actually nothing to do with you, but the fact that your skill is worth supporting and clearly contributes towards the larger hive in this card, towards the honey that hive produces. Maybe it's up to you to get on the horse, to take the reins, to move things forward, to blow the screen door off of this and create an opening for yourself here. This card came through on the split. I've also got the deck that I've created here, the notes to self. And this one was on the split. It says you already know. So I do think that this reading is just here to validate what you already know, which is in some sense like a very high function of tarot and cartomancy, divination, is to validate your instincts. And it seems to me like your instincts are to ask for a raise. And yeah, okay, let's see. Any other words of advice for our caller here? Round and round and round it goes is this, like, again, it sort of feels like this cycle of overthinking to me. Doing nothing, you will sort of stay in the same cycle. The Sag New Moon is the start of a new cycle. And in so many ways, it does feel like a tone shift, an opportunity to take an exit, to sort of get out of whatever deep, steep loop that you have been in with the Taurus Scorpio eclipses that have been happening since last year. And I want to say this too. This card came out. If it's not an obvious yes, it's probably a no. There's nothing in these cards that says it's not an obvious yes. That's all I'll say. And in that card, it really asks you to touch in with your yes and your no and what they feel like inside of you, which is kind of cool that we're using yes, the oracle, for this, because it is, again, it's really asking you, like, how do you know something is a yes for you? How do you know that you want something? What, you know, and let me just say this, like, whether you get it, whether your boss acquiesces or not, the asking itself supports your belief and your value in your own skill set, and could potentially open the door for something else, even if it's not the raise right now. But honestly, it could be the raise right now. My advice, don't overthink it. Don't undervalue your skills. Find the confidence to believe in your skills with all of these planets activating your 6th house in Sagittarius. Okay. Okay, let me think if there's anything else. I think that's it. Very cool. Okay, I hope this is helpful. I'll be curious to see what this feels like to you. Yeah. One last thing. Okay, fine. One last thing. With this, the way that this young rider is hugging onto this horse with like a lot of feeling, a lot of intimacy, and you mentioned that your relationship with the person you'd be asking a raise from is maybe like complicated or like close in some way. Don't be afraid to speak intimately with them. Just be honest, just be super transparent and tell them how you're feeling. Yeah, just tell them how you're feeling and see what happens from there. Okay, fine. I hope that helps. Next.
It happened. I'm pregnant. I am very early on after obviously 2 years of trying. I'm just kind of waiting for the next shoe to drop though. So I'd love some guidance and some feedback as I enter this new next phase. Yay!
Yay, that is awesome. Okay, so this caller has called in a few times asking about conception, and we've been doing some readings for a while now for this person, and I'm just happy to hear it. Yay, that's awesome. Congrats. I know you said it's early stages, so we'll hold this all very loosely and with a lot of grace. And let's see what yes, the Oracle has to say towards this pregnancy. Oh, wow, cool. Nice. Oh, okay, okay. Strange. Okay, first let me show you this, which is why I laughed. So this card is showing it looks like the outline of a person wearing blue clothes. There's like a blue dress shirt and like a blue linen type cloth, creating the shape of a person. And in the center is this oval where the belly would be. And pouring out of it are strawberries and rose petals. And there's a cup, a chalice up by the head, with maybe like a pearl or something like that where the head is. Yeah. Gorgeous. This, like, the strawberries and the rose petals feel so sweet. Let me think. Let's see. Where are we? We're in November. Yeah. Are we looking at like a summer, possibly summer birth if this goes to term? I don't know. I'm just sort of feeling some summer vibes. We've got, and I'm also saying that because the other two cards that are coming out, check this out. There are eyeballs on all of these cards. These other two cards that came through, there's an eyeball here, eyeball here, eyeball here, eyeball here, all these little eyeballs. And then on this card, there's also what looks to me like camera lenses. So there's something here about looking and seeing. And there's a seashell on this card, and there's a crab on this card, which could indicate Cancer energy. Cancer energy is totally a beautiful energy for conception and nurturing and gestating something inside of you, protecting that thing, nurturing, loving it, and caring for it. I wonder about these lenses. Oh wait, that's not a seashell, that's a wing. It looked like a seashell from afar, but it's a wing. Okay. Yeah, a bird's wing with like all of these eyes. Eyes, eyes, eyes. Okay, let's ask the notes to self, my little Post-it note deck here. Let's ask for some clarification on this. Something to see, something about the way this is viewed, or the way of seeing, or what you are seeing. How you're seeing something, point of view. Okay, help us understand why there are eyes here. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. There's definitely something calling. Okay, that's great. There's calling the attention to your point of view as you move forward with this pregnancy. I have your moon walk in here, which supports the Cancer energy. It supports that, you know, the moon is such a planet of conception, and again, like holding all of that energy inside of you and moving through the cycle of gestation and all of these things. So your moon walking is moving backwards, maybe like emotionally or internally, which makes sense. You're doing it again, you know, like you're trying again, you're going through an experience a second time, or the umpteenth time at this point. I would say with these other cards here, I got no strings to hold me down, and to push for the end is to miss the whole experience. There's a message coming through about like, there's no need to limit yourself. I got no strings to hold me down. The possibilities are endless. I could do anything. I don't have to go through the motions in the same way I always have. And to push for the end is to miss the whole experience is really like, okay, just be where you are every step of the way. Maybe part of the moon walking, like emotionally, is to fall into a pattern or a habit of end gaming, you know, like, well, this is the end result that I want. And so I'm just like so hyper focused on seeing the end, you know, all of these eyeballs. Maybe that's the lens shift that you could have, is like, actually, rather than a zoom out, you want the close up. You don't want the wide lens right now because, okay, you're pregnant. It's you know, like, just be in the pregnancy, zoom in to the micro experience and just be right where you are and be with this, you know, the strawberries and rose petals, like be with this thing that is inside of you each step of the way. To push for the end is to miss the whole experience. And to be that present with something you want to protect and something that you care very much about, Cancer energy, crab symbol, is actually like perspective shattering. Because I'm looking at this lens and then I'm looking over here and the lens has shattered, and there's this like mind-blowing perspective shift essentially that is possible through being radically present and open in this experience, not limiting yourself. I got no strings to hold me down. And then I'm just like noticing the scaffolding in this card with all of the eyeballs and the wing. The wing would imply that there is space to fly. And then in the background, I don't know if you can see it, it's just like all of these little sticks or strings or something like that. They look like scaffolding to me. Take a less structured approach, perhaps. You know? Because again, caring for something so much, especially something that you just really want to protect, you could end up over structuring it because you're trying to get to the end. You know what I mean? You're end gaming. You're just trying to get to the end, and I'm just gonna like structure this and hold it and protect it and like don't move, you know? Like, I'm just gonna hold this right here for 9 months and then like, okay, good, it's out. But it's like, that's not what's here. There's a much more like, there's a perspective shift, a different way of viewing this pregnancy that could invite you into your emotional experience in a much deeper way, that lets you be present with this life as it is inside of your body in a much more intuitive, flowing, emotional, water-like capacity, rather than these eyeballs are speaking very Aquarian to me. I don't remember your chart, friend. If you have Aquarian energy in your chart, I feel like maybe you do. There's a lot of Aquarian energy here in these eyeballs that like takes that wider lens and looks at things like very sort of objectively. And this is asking you to zoom in, to be much more Cancerian in the way you are experiencing, feeling, and carrying yourself and this life through this experience. It's the micro, not the macro. Zoom in, be present for the whole experience. Don't worry about the end. Cool. Okay. Okay, again, congratulations. I hope that this reading was helpful and will carry you both through. Okay, great. Next.
Hi, Amanda. Thank you so much for doing these readings. I love them and I look forward to listening to your podcast whenever you do them.
Yay.
My question is about the end of a relationship, or I guess I'll call it a situationship. I ended it last week. And I don't know if I did it out of anxiety or because I know it was the right thing to do. I think it's a little bit of both. So I'm having a bit of regret, thinking, did I do it just so I could hurt you before you hurt me, or was it the right thing to do? So just looking for guidance on that, and maybe the cards can say, hey, is there, did I do the right thing, or is there something that I need to hold on to or circle back to, or kind of get out of my own way about, if that makes any sense. I am a Pisces sun, Aries rising, and Scorpio moon. Thank you so much.
Okay, Scorpio moon. So you've been going through it. Well, to be fair, you just moved through eclipse season, like an eclipse in the sign of your moon. And that is a time of like, you blink and something has left your life, or something is just over, or something else is ready to begin. And it can happen quite suddenly. Eclipses can change your mind, can change how you feel. Okay, let's just see what the cards have to say about breaking up with this person. This card again, interesting. Yeah, it's just sort of feels, it just feels like, I don't know if this card is for you. Well, where's your Venus? Where's your Venus is a question that I have, but you can answer for yourself and like notice if Venus is part of this for you. Likely it is. I just want to pull one more card. Okay, the bottom of the deck is like really speaking. We have so many cards now. All right, here's the thing. The first card that came out, this looks like a breakup energy to me. We've got a wrench in the middle of the card with what looks like red, like blood spatter or something like that. There's red lipstick print on the wrench, which would kind of speak to me of romance or a relationship, or like sealed with a kiss. There's an orchid, there's also what looked to me like planetary rings, or like the rings of Saturn. So of course I have questions about like how old you are and your Saturn return and your Saturn itself. But this just sort of feels to me like throwing that wrench in there and breaking up with this person, or like ending this relationship, may have come as a bit of a surprise. or felt sort of messy, hence like the blood spatter. But there is something Saturnian in it, which tells me it's a part of your growth and maturation process. And it may feel abrupt in the short term, but it has long-term implications that look to me really positive. Another card that's coming out here is this card with an eyeball and a bunch of snakes. So the snakes are so Scorpionic to me. They're not necessarily an official animal of Scorpio, although I see them as Scorpionic because of the way they shed their skin and they transform, and they are essentially like shirking the old, shedding the old skin and readying themselves for something fresh and something new. And then of course, right on cue, you've got this card with a newborn baby on it and a butterfly like spreading its wings. Another card that came out here is the same card that the first caller got, which was that screen door being blown off and creating an opening out into the clouds, into the sky. And then we do have the butterfly wing again. So it just seems like essentially here, you know, if these cards are playing out like a story, you subconsciously or quite consciously were ready to transform and ready to shed a skin. And this relationship ending is how you felt you could do that. And so there you go. You threw the wrench in there, created a little blood spatter, but there's the breakup. But in throwing the wrench in and essentially taking the hinges off this door, you blew open this opening for yourself, this imprint of where this person was and is like this cutout of where they were, now opens something up for new life with this newborn baby and that butterfly wing, the butterfly wings now coming fully into view in this card and taking flight. That Scorpio Taurus eclipse season for you was quite a passage, and I think part of how you come out the other side of this is feeling the need for something fresh, something new, and to sort of blow the door off and create an opening for yourself. And it looks like that's what you have done. And the blood spatter indicates to me that it's not without complication and complicated feelings, and like feels a little messy, and maybe like some of that regret mixed in is showing up in that card. But what I'm seeing here is that this has created an opening, and that's what's being emphasized, is like the opportunity to sort of jump onto a new cycle and shed an old skin through this breakup. And this card here where I said, okay, there's Taurus, it looks to me like a bunch of circles, which speaks to me of the eclipse. And then there's like a horse grazing on the grass, which is pretty Taurian. Sagittarius too with the horse, but this particular horse is much more of a Taurus vibe. You know, it's like grazing, eating grass, not particularly focused on like, you know, anyway, it's Taurus for me. And there's drums right in the center, someone playing the drums. I think this Taurus Scorpio eclipse axis was really like almost like the beat of a drum, the drums beginning to sound for you. Like there's a rhythm that you could feel, like almost like a calling or a revving up. Like it was beating your heart towards a transformation, a shedding of a skin, and opening up into something brand new. Let's see what the notes to self have to say about this breakup. Yeah, we'll definitely take that. What if there's no problem to solve? You know, what if you didn't do anything wrong here? What if regret is an experience you're having that doesn't necessarily mean that there's a problem? What if regret is not a problem? Oh, that's interesting. You know, it's just an experience you're having based on a choice you made, but that doesn't mean the choice is an issue. or that you made the wrong choice. Yeah, complicated. Okay, let me see if there's any other advice here about this breakup. Getting a lot of like cards flipping and turning around. Okay. Take 2, take 3, take 4. Oh yeah, sure. Let your eyes adjust. You know, you just did this. You just did this last week and you're already sort of wanting a do-over. And it's like, hold on. Like, what if there's no problem to solve? Just like, let your eyes adjust to where you are now and how things land after you've made this choice, this shift. And as time goes on, maybe you'll feel differently. And if that's the case, of course, you can always have a conversation with this person and let them know how you feel. That it feels really fresh to me and it feels like, okay, you just did this, you know? And like there's a lot of this like blood spatter in this card. Feels to me like you made a mess that you feel like you have to clean up. And it's like, just hold on a second, you know? Let your eyes adjust. I love this card. What if there's no problem to solve? It comes from a meditation teacher, Locke Kelly, who uses these glimpse practices. And it's like when you have that sensation in your day where suddenly you have this like spike of anxiety, like something is wrong, or you need to be doing something or whatever, or you're worrying about something. It's just like this opportunity to just sit wherever you are, close your eyes and like glimpse a different way of seeing something by asking yourself, what if in this moment there is no problem to solve? And just like challenging that anxious feeling you're having that you did something wrong. The cards are just sort of saying like, listen, you did throw a wrench in things, but it has initiated some sort of opening, an important opening or new life or new experience. So just sit with the raw, fresh, new skin. Don't try to wriggle back into the old skin because it's scary. Just sit with it. Let your eyes adjust, you know? Interesting. Now I got this like the take 2, take 3, take 4 could be like breaths, you know? Take a breath, take 2, take 3, take 4. What if there's no problem to solve? And just see where you end up on the other side of this choice. See what opens up for you. Before you wriggle back into an old skin. Or before you cycle back. Okay. Great. Oof, I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you all for calling in to the Get Read podcast. You know, I'm really excited about this Sagittarius New Moon. I hope and wish you all just an absolutely Jupiterian, fresh feeling. Thanks to all who called in. If you would like to get read on the Get Read podcast, we'll be doing another one for the full moon in 2 weeks. So around that time, you can leave me a voicemail. Just go to unseenhandstarot.com, click the microphone, ask your question, and maybe you'll